Scott Burnside, ESPN.com, alongside trusted friend and colleague Pierre LeBrun. Sometimes at the end of trade deadline, it's almost more fun to talk about the deals that didn't happen than the ones that did, especially on a day like today.
That's because you're negative.
I know. That's right. We'll get to that soon enough. But obviously, Brad Richards, a lot of discussion. The top player available on the marketplace didn't go anywhere. Were you surprised?
You know, in the end, I wasn't. I remember talking to Jim a couple of days ago who said he didn't think he was going to move. He was only going to move if Joe Nieuwendyk hit a home run and probably a grand slam while he was at it. Double baseball analogy there. Because it's a player that he needs to win in the playoffs this year, but at the same time, he doesn't want him to walk away July 1st. The Rangers were in talks today. The price never moved. It was way too high. Brad Richards remains a sar.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it'll be interesting to see whether it comes back to bite the Stars if they miss the playoffs and if they can't re-sign him.
It might.
But I wouldn't want that job for that was a hard decision, obviously, for Joe Nieuwendyk. Another guy was very busy, Dale Talon. A lot of bodies flying out of Florida, but one body who didn't go, netminder Thomas Vokoun. In fact, not much of a market for a starter, and certainly not one making the money that Vokoun is.
Yeah, unrestricted free agent July 1st, so they will lose him for nothing, it would appear. Didn't get any traction at all until a late, last-minute offer, I'm told, that wasn't very good, so the Panthers turned it down. And the player's disappointed. I think Thomas Vokoun wanted out of that sinking ship, and he didn't get out.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some of the other teams that you thought might have done something, the Islanders pretty silent today. No Radek, Martinek, Konopka didn't go.
Spoke to one team who had interest in Konopka, and he said the asking price was a second-round pick. Pretty steep for that player. Useful player, but that's pretty steep.
Some other interesting talks, a lot of talks around Atlanta, Ron Hainsey, perhaps Nick Antropov.
Johnny
Oduya. The Thrashers made a couple of moves, but were you surprised that they didn't do more, or do you think the fact that they had the big comeback win against Toronto and they're really back in the heat of that Eastern Conference playoff race may have modified their tack?
I think you nailed it. Big win on Sunday. It keeps them semi-alive, so they didn't want to completely destroy the team and strip it down like Florida. They made a few moves, got some asset value in return, but didn't move everyone that they would have, I think, had they lost to Toronto on Sunday. That's how big that game was.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as always, we're happy that you've stayed with ESPN.com for your NHL coverage and your trade coverage. For Pierre LeBrun, I'm Scott Burnside.